It's been something of a high watermark summer for the UFC. It was an ugly promotion, but Sean Strickland versus Hamzat, it did do big numbers. Certainly, we all know the UFC White House did big numbers. Conor fight fizzled, but again, you can't say it wasn't a success at the box office or with the ratings on Paramount. And here we are with the number one pound-for-pound fighter in the sport. I think if you're the UFC, you're looking at that run and you're saying, hey, not bad. However, it does seem, Chuck, like people are thinking it's a one-fight card. How do you understand this moment for UFC and then this card in particular?
If this were still the pay-per-view era, don't you think there'd be like an outcry on this one? Like just the way this has went down. Like we had the
wouldn't
fight,
be doing numbers for sure.
That's what I'm saying. But I feel like that's what's kind of, now that it's on Paramount, you won't hear as much about it. We'll talk about it and be like, well, the quality of this card's not that great. But if this had been a pay-per-view, this would have been a stinker, man. This would be a stinker because I think that you get Islam in a situation like this, and I think he's the big key. But obviously, Ian Garry being a good counterpart. But the other title fight feels like a borrowed time type thing. I don't know. Everything else down the line is pretty bad. The one fight that I had looked forward to be honest, was the Aaron Blanchfield fight with Jasmine Jasudavicius, and that one falls off the card. So.
Did that get bumped somewhere? Is that what happened with that?
I'm not sure exactly.
Yeah, that's going to be in Edmonton.
That got bumped
Edmonton,
Canada.
that's right. That's correct, yeah.
Canada,
which is a big switch because you go from one person's homeland into, But at the same time, I'm like, I was actually looking forward to that one because the women's fights of like high caliber have been dropped off so much. But without that one and just kind of looking down that card, not good, boys, not good.
Yeah, I think you were on with Sean Sheehan this week, and I believe he was the one who I first saw be like, we've become what we hate. This is boxing. It feels like a boxing card. The main event is spectacular. You will never hear me say a bad thing about this. It is the top pound-for-pound fighter in the sport trying to make several layers of history against a legitimately interesting, difficult challenger. Great fucking fight. But the co-main event, I like the co-main event obviously more than Chuck does, and I like it more than most people because me and Shaheen Al-Shadi are the only two people who never gave up on Mackenzie Dern, and now we're shitting in high cotton. Like this is our dream. But
way down yonder on the Chattahoochee, it gets hotter than a hoochie coochie.
I knew you'd love it if I threw you a little southern saying there. But like I recognize that that's not a great fight, but that feels like here's a plus main event. Technically a title fight in the co-main event, like the European boxing welterweight WBC title or whatever, and then 30 piles of some of it's interesting. Like there's some fights I do like on the undercard, but we're talking a lot of prospect development, a lot of long odds, big favorite squash matches. So this does feel like a traditional boxing card.
Leg, where they're kind of
a lot of old dudes running probably into headlong into violence here, and so it feels like a boxing card.
Yeah, I think that's pretty accurate. I mean, I think what's working against it is you can't knock the quality of the main event, but the fan base, I think I don't want to overstate things, but Chuck, it seems like they don't care for Ian Garry.
Yeah.
What?
And
why?
I think Islam is
They don't like Brazilians.
Islam is respected. But perhaps reluctantly so. So you don't have a supporting cast here in really kind of any major sense. And the thing that anchors it is almost like a begrudging, sure, I'll take, but not. It's not this is a sort of circle the calendar kind of moment. But the question I would ask to kind of advance the conversation is: are any of those impressions, I don't know, understandable, fair? Like, why is the fan base kind of lagging on both, even if Islam? Actually, both guys are kind of respected for that matter.
This has been like kind of the argument when we talked about like George St. Pierre. We're talking about Islam now in company of these guys who he's like, and obviously Anderson Silva this month because he wins, he passes Anderson Silva's 16-fight win streak in the UFC. But if you recall those fights, the magnitude matters to this, right? Like when you think about the magnitude of an Anderson Silva fight, especially in title defenses, not necessarily he's fighting Stephan Bonner or something like that and just kind of lark, but like when he's fighting and he's got like his Jenga, puzzle, and if it falls, this could be the time it falls over. I just remember going to those fights and you're thinking this could be it, and it felt during that period it felt like the biggest thing possible going. When he'd make the walk here, like, dude, here it is, we're rolling the dice. Can he keep this thing going? And the same thing was kind of with GSP. The magnitude of those events and those guys and what they brought to the sport during that period of time felt so much bigger. And I think you have to factor that in with Islam. This is a great example of it because I know they're using like the narrative of he could break Anderson Silva's, but does it feel like it has any kind of historic significance that way? It just feels very different or like flat when it should feel bigger. And that's always the case when you're looking at the GOAT conversation and a guy like Islam in this situation. You have to factor this in. It just doesn't feel quite like an event. Maybe in part because he's supposed to fight Arman back in the day. You got Moicano. There've been weird kind of mutations and things going on with the different cards and stuff. But to me, he hasn't risen to that magnitude, and I feel like we're seeing it this week. Are you guys feeling that, or are you feeling
if I completely echo this because I really respect Islam. I am excited for this fight, the main event anyway. But just to give people a sense of the feeling, what Chuck's talking about, when Anderson would win, it was like one more step on like crossing a high wire.
Yes.
Whereas with Islam, it just feels like he's on concrete and he's going a long journey.
That's it.
But it doesn't feel like oh my God, every new development is so. It doesn't have that.
I think there are two reasons for that, and we talked a little bit about this beforehand, and I'll go to that second. The first is yes, technically, this would be the longest win streak, and it's winning 17 fights in a row is just fucking impressive. Like there's no other way around it.
It's insane.
It's absolutely ludicrous. But like, it ain't the same as what Anderson's 16 were. Anderson's 16 Chris Lieben was his first, and like, okay. And everything else was a title fight or going up to 205 to do something else. Like 10 of Islam's current wins were not title fights. And so nobody was paying attention to this win streak really, especially because the second part of why I think this is, and I said this years ago, and I feel like I'm smart, and so I'm going to toot my own horn. We have underrated Islam Makhachev for his whole fucking career. And it has been infuriating for me to watch because he has always been the second son. He was the second son to Khabib Nurmagomedov. His whole career is like, oh yeah, this guy is coming. Nobody gave a shit because he got knocked out very early on, and Khabib was King Khabib, cult of personality and the greatest fighter, whatever. As soon as he gets out from Khabib's shadow, they even intentionally removed Khabib from her. Like he's not going to come to every fight, so Islam could build his own thing. But he fights Charles Oliveira, who everyone fucking loves. Volkanovski twice, who everyone loves. Dustin Poirier, who everyone loves. Renato Moicano on 24 hours notice, who no one really cared about. And by the time he's moving up to fight welterweight, what is the narrative? I remember when we did the show for the Jack Della fight, it was not about Islam Makhachev being a 2-division champion. It was, do you think we're going to get the Topuria fight? Like he has never been the guy that people gravitated to as a victim of circumstance, right? And now I think he does get it, but it's so far into his career, people aren't going to be as excited, especially when nobody likes Ian Machado Garry, so I guess he's got that going for him. But he's had a really, really strange career for a guy who is one of the best fighter of this generation, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
Certainly one of, if not the best. You want to make an argument for somebody else. To be so good and generally just be people
we only took the 2.0 thing off of him recently. Yeah. You know what I mean? People are still calling him Khabib 2.0.
Basically, like when he beat Jack was like, when it was like, oh, he did something different, so okay.
That was kind of it. It has been very strange. Like he comes from a whole different perception. Very tough to like change it, but I mean, I'm not saying what he's doing, and we talked about this a little bit. If he goes in there and he beats Ian Garry, and let's say he follows that up and beats another guy like Michael Morales,
that would be insane.
We're going to have that discussion about him in there. I just think that like you have to factor in all these other things, kind of what you mean to the sport, the significance of like your presence in the sport. And so far, he hasn't distinguished himself that way. I think he can, though.
What can he achieve here? I mean, yes, he'll break the record, 17 wins if he gets it. He'll be getting a title defense in the second weight class, which itself is pretty big. Obviously, there are those two components among others. I'll also say this. I think if you look at Islam's resume and you look at like really top level guys he fought at a very hard time to compete against them, Ian Garry is going to be, I think, at worst, third or fourth on that list. I mean, we're talking about one of the absolute better wins. It's not as good as beating Charles, I don't think, at the time he beat Charles. You can make an argument it's not as good as beating Volk, even though Volk was coming up from 45, but obviously Volk is a pound-for-pound great. even at that point.
Yeah.
But again, even that's debatable. And then you could throw Poirier in there as well if you really wanted to, because I don't know if I count the second Volk in that regard. So Ian Garry is sitting at worst third or maybe fourth.
Probably
Dude,
third.
that's
Probably third.
and it's up a weight class, no less.
Do we feel like we're underestimating him somewhat? Like, because
Who?
Ian Garry, only in the sense, like, he fights with Shavkat's his only loss, right?
Yeah.
And like that fight it wasn't a runaway. It was, wasn't it like a 48-47 type
It was
thing?
very,
It was like
very
3-2.
competitive.
I mean, it was
he ended on
Shavkat's.
Shavkat's back.
It was very competitive.
Yeah. I mean, in a weird way, you're like, I feel like he's kind of unsung in his own way. You know what I mean? Like, he's kind of, and he's always been very game to do, like, to get in there and fight. And the Carlos Prochas fight, like, he comes in there and he does work. Like, when you say that, it just made me think, like, he probably is. I would put him up there at probably 3, like, in what you're just talking about. Like, he's up there in terms of the difficulty. I just think he's a little unsung on some level. People don't see him. Maybe it's because of his, his perception outside of fighting. Like, people just don't give him his flowers like they should. But, dude, he's tough, man.
We were talking before the show, Jed, about how good this win would be for Islam if he gets it, whether it's, first of all, like, if he ekes through, I still think it's a great win, but it doesn't mean quite the same thing. But if he blanks him or stops him, so 50-45 or some stoppage, either, submission or TKO or whatever, dude, like, we went through this. Let's talk about the champions who have 2 weight class championships. So
there are 11 of them.
There's 11 total.
4 have ever defended
Right.
a belt.
Okay, so
defended a belt in both weight classes.
So there's John Jones, who fought the corpse of Stipe Miocic. A win over Ian Garry is vastly superior to that. Then there's who else? We're talking about
Henry Cejudo
Henry
defeated
Cejudo.
Dominic Cruz for his bantamweight one.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
No, Cruz had been out for like 3
Pretty good.
years.
Not great. Not
He'd
elite.
been out for like 3 years. It was a nonsense title fight at that point in time.
I don't remember the circumstances.
It
Perhaps
was-
you're right.
it was really
I certainly
bad.
wouldn't put it above this. It doesn't matter
Not
anyway.
not in the
No.
neighborhood of this.
Okay, so then next.
Daniel
Daniel
Cormier, who
But,
beat Derek Lewis.
Derek Lewis not the same level as this.
Not the
Who's
same
the
level.
fourth? Poetan?
No, Amanda Nunes.
Amanda Nunes.
Poetan never defended the middleweight
Amanda
belt.
Nunes was
He's
legit.
lost
Oh,
though.
that's right. That's right. That's
Oh,
right.
no. Was it legit?
No, Amanda's were legit if you believe women's featherweight is a legit weight
Right.
class.
Right.
And it was honestly like beating
But,
Chris
like,
Cyborg that weird.
She beat Chris Cyborg, but then it was who did she defend
It
featherweight
was,
against?
Dumont? No.
No, it
Megan
wasn't.
Anderson or
It was
It was
Megan
Megan
Anderson.
Anderson. It was Megan
so
Anderson.
I'm going to go on a limb. I don't want to rock the boat. I apologize, viewers at home. I think beating Ian Machado Garry is better than beating Megan Anderson.
This is what I mean. This is
Boat's perfectly
Boat is
still right now.
it's like,
man.
I don't
in an era
I don't want
of
to upset people. But
in an era of champ status where I think people are trying to make that just who you beat to
Yeah,
get the belt,
yeah.
the second belt. Islam is doubling down on this one and saying, no, I'm going to establish weight class dominance. Because, I'm not saying it's easy to go up a weight and beat the guy above you. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is it's exponentially harder
Yeah.
to beat whoever is the belt holder and then fight the number 1 contender. Islam is trying something in the history of
Yeah.
MMA that is rarely even approached.
And every one of those names you just mentioned, didn't they all have somewhat of a feeling of this is more of
Yes,
a end of career
opportunism.
lark at the end though? Like it was sort of like 1 foot out.
Yeah.
And this is kind of what else is left when I'm going to do these things.
So-
Beating Derek Lewis and that, like when in that
It was
sort of
it was
situation-
Messi's Inter Miami
Yeah.
days, not
Yes.
Barcelona.
beating Derek
Exactly.
Lewis was Cormier being like, "Oh, I just won the heavyweight belt," and it was like a really
it was
fast
like a
turnaround
gift.
too.
It was like a
It was like, "Ooh, I can
lifetime achievement award
yeah.
the UFC gave him,
I can
you know?
headline December."
Daniel Cormier admitted he threw his back out
I know.
sneezing before that fight. Like if
It's
Islam is in that kind of condition,
Yeah.
he's not beating
know.
Ian Garry.
But
Probably
but
not.
Islam has given no indication, unless I haven't heard it though, that he's just this is his intention is to go in there and kind of rule another weight class. It's not really a lark. There's nothing that feels like he's on one step out the door type thing. So there's something about the vitality, the center of his career still that I'm like, okay, this has to be factored into this.
I just love a guy in the middle of his, not in the middle of his career, but in the middle of something great that he's trying,
Yeah.
and he keeps trying to up the ante and succeeding. Now, again, I don't know whether he will on Saturday, but if he does, if he emerges like clearly the superior guy, dude, this is what you want out of your pound-for-pound best guy. You want him to achieve and then keep fucking pressing the action
Yeah.
while you have an opportunity to do it. I really feel like, I don't know if this is, if he beats the shit out of Ian Garry, does he become more popular as a consequence? Like, is
Yeah.
this a turning point for him?
Nobody's really
Yeah.
beat the shit out of Ian Garry though. That's the thing. So it's like if he
Practice
does
in the
that-
5th round.
That's true. But I mean, like in terms of just where they put him away and that was that. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, I mean, he is the centerpiece of this week, and he's the hero. Like, people, I think, will be cheering for him. So if he really puts a stamp on it, for sure, like, he will get more popular because he's going about it the hard way. He's here long enough that you can't hate him anymore. It's really what he's done. It's like, oh, well, because people didn't love Anderson Silva at first.
No, people don't realize that. He was very much not liked.
He just kept winning. Like, all right,
that's why Chael was able to make his name, like, do that whole thing, because he was echoing so many sentiments about Anderson Silva.
And then Anderson just kept winning. And, like, it's the hard way to go. It's much more difficult to be popular that way, but he's doing it.
Yeah, I know. It takes years to defeat the haters, it turns out. Look, but you can do it.
Is it possible that, like, the lack of fanfare, with Islam in general, is what feeds this? Because let's say that we were like, we're putting him on a pedestal right now. Well, maybe he has a different attitude towards what he needs to accomplish in the sport, but because he's so unsung, he's going about business like, I got to keep going because nobody sees me that way yet, you know?
Maybe, and I hadn't thought of this until Luke was talking just now, and then as you said that, it sort of, because the thing that I appreciate the most about Islam Makhachev is once he won the welterweight belt, to your point, it wasn't like, oh, I know he's your boy, and I'm very sorry. Ilia Topuria had no interest in the lightweight title. His interest was to move up and get a third one. Islam has not been like, I'm fucking coming for you, Sean Strickland. He's like, oh, I'm going to beat Carlos Prates and Michael Morales, and I'm going to do the work of being a legitimate champion. And so maybe that is it. Like, maybe part of that is because if he had more, if people had just been like, oh, you are the anointed one, like they were with Ilia, maybe it'd have been like, okay, I won the belt, now let me fight Sean Strickland or Hamza Chimaev or whatever, which would suck because we don't need to do that. It's way cooler that he's fighting Gary and then maybe fights, Michael Morales or Carlos Prates or whoever ends up coming through the welterweight, There's a whole pile of good dudes at welterweight right now.
He can keep his chip on his shoulder, though, like a little bit. And in terms of, like, if you believe that, you should be getting, you know what I mean? Like,
how do you think he escalates if he gets a decisive victory here?
I think he just defends. I think he takes on Prates.
You don't think
Morales.
He calls for something fucking crazy?
No, I think he takes on Prates and Morales, which would be sick because, like, I mean, I want to see those two dudes fight. Like, that's what I want. I want Prates and Morales to fight for a #1 contender bout. But, like, I would also just watch Islam fight either of them. That would be pretty cool. Like, that would be pretty sick.
Hey, Michael Morales, you catch a dude like that who's flying into flight like Michael Morales, and if you're able to do that to him,
you see how much weight he cuts? Did you guys see that this week?
Yeah, he was already cutting weight.
He was 193.
It's not sustainable, man.
He's 193 at the start of the week. His journey started at 230, like 2 months ago when he was doing camp.
Honestly,
he had posted a video of him at 230.
I've heard of this before.
I mean, it happens, but it's just like
it's insane.
It's nuts.
He's still young enough, but man, at some point that's going to be.
Yeah, there's no way he has a sustained future.
He's Rumble Johnson. He's just the next Rumble Johnson. It's sick.
And some guys can cut more weight, but I mean, he's doing it. Well, how old is Morales? 27.
I think he's 26.
26.
Long Island,
or maybe he just turned 27.
Let me look it up.
How old is that fool?
But like,
you got to put that bong down.
If they booked Islam versus Morales,
you act like I just have Morales' age ready in front of me. I'm fucking Google.
Aren't you the prop quiz guy?
Yeah, but I don't do age. He's 27. He'll be 28 next June. So
wow.
So he just turned 27.
Yeah, I mean, he can keep doing it for a little while
That's
longer.
What I'm saying, man.
But like, how pumped would you be if in cage Islam goes and cooks Gary, and then they just walk Morales, and they're like, I'm like, fuck yeah, man,
yeah, dude.
hell
There's
yeah,
something
fuck
to be
yeah.
said, though, like. I know we've touched on it, but now that we're doing this together, like, you have a guy like Islam who's kind of the last of the invincibles as we entered the year, right? Like, you had Hamzat before, you had Ilya still there.
Hey, Movsar Evloev exists.
That is true.
In the shadows.
That guy can't
Poetan, to your point. Poetan as well.
Poetan. So
all the pound for
they've all
pound greats.
Like, from a UFC standpoint, I mean, don't you want one guy to still be like, hey, his sheen, like he's still got invincibility.
So let's talk about that. Ian Garry has called himself the future.
Yeah.
Maybe the future will be now, everybody. All right.
My God.
But to that point,
give him bad sound effects for that. There you go.
Fuck y'all. I was committing to that bit.
I actually gave him the horns, but he was so loud that you drowned him out.
Hey, could you swallow the microphone? You're not talking close enough to it.
Where's the toilet?
Sorry, I'll get it out of the back.
I gave him the horns.
Let's talk about Ian Garry here. Would UFC want him to? I mean, I think they would much prefer Islam to win for a lot of reasons. But I got to say, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for an Irish guy, 28 years old, defeating as the number one contender. You didn't gift this guy a title shot. He earned this one to defeat your number one pound for pound guy. And he is reviled by at least the online fan base, which honestly can propel the fuck out of you too.
Yeah.
Not the worst thing in the world for them
weird
if Ian
storyline.
Garry wins.
That's a crazy storyline. I never really thought of that. Like going into summer and you're like, one Irishman is going to break through in a big way. You're going to be like Conor McGregor, 329.
Come back, baby.
You're not even
Nope.
thinking about Ian Garry. And talking to Pizza Carroll, he's like, yeah, he's kind of a non-starter out here. Like, I don't know, it just doesn't have a lot of traction in Ireland, but you wonder how that changes if he's able to do this.
Winning
right?
changes
100%.
everything.
100%. So like,
No. He's a tough sell, and he's going to remain a tough sell. In fact,
He's going to be like Islam.
yes, he's going to have to. He would have to go on a proving grounds because remember, he took that Carlos Prates fight
He
on
did.
short notice.
Yeah.
And
a
he
couple
fought
weeks.
Shavkat. Like,
Yeah.
he doesn't duck smoke at all.
Yeah.
At all. So, but like, that has done nothing to make him appealing to the online fan base. That hasn't saved him at all. Only beating big named fighters would really do it.
Look, there's one way to appeal to the broad swath of MMA fans. You are pretty active.
Beat your wife.
Well, I wasn't going to go there. That's
demographic.
Luke. You fight often and you deliver highlights. And Ian doesn't really do either of those. He never ducks smoke. But like Carlos Prates got over in basically a year and a half because he fought 4 times and he killed people. Like Killing Saul killed last weekend has become, and he has become a thing because he has elevated his game, and that's sick and awesome. But he's just putting dudes to the sword at a high rate,
That's so
and
true.
so you
That's
can
so true.
it is, in pro wrestling, you get to see wrestlers week over week over week. That's not how it works in fighting. But if you are Movsar Evloev and you fight once every year, and you are boring when you do, or you win decisions, nobody gives a fuck. Garry had some finishes early. That's not really
I was just
his
gonna say,
game.
when's the last time one of his fights was a finish?
D-Rod? Was that
Oh,
the
it was
last one?
D-Rod. It
Was that the
'cause it
last
D-Rod.
one?
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
you're right. It was
so.
like 6 or 7 fights ago.
Yeah, but Eros managed it in 30 seconds,
I know.
Like it is, you have to finish people and you have to be in people's, like Armin became popular just by wrestling every
Right.
month. You have to be, and he is neither of those things. And so he doesn't duck smoke, but his personality
kinda
is not
crazy,
one
too.
that MMA fans will care about. And his performances are not ones that people can respect it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But no one's ever going to get behind him until he starts putting people to the sword.
Yeah. I was just going to say, we talk about it. I think 14 of those fights we were talking about were finishes.
Yeah.
So, like, when you're looking at that escalation of things and, like, that Jenga puzzle we're talking about, it was also that. He went out there to finish you. He was trying to knock you off because that's what kept the thing going. I think Islam, though, has, like, 11 finishes in his run. I know they weren't all for titles and all that, but I think people look at the last one where he just didn't put himself in. He didn't risk anything in getting that. He kind of cruised to that 5-round thing. Probably didn't help him in that sense.
Definitely didn't. But like, I mean, Khabib was popular when he came up, right? Like he was popular, but Khabib got over once he won the belt and then started finishing top tier fighters. Like, that's how you do it. So Garry might win the belt. I think he absolutely can win this fight on Saturday, but he's never going to get over either as a heel or not until he delivers performances that make people go,
I feel like Khabib
hell yeah.
was like, didn't it feel like Khabib got over the moment he started? Remember, he was who was it? He was beating up Johnson or something.
Michael Johnson.
Michael Johnson. He started talking.
Well,
and it
remember,
You
felt
gotta
like
give
that
up.
blew
You gotta
up.
give up.
And
I know,
then,
you
and then
gotta give
also, that was the same event, UFC 205, where post-fight presser, he called it number one bullshit.
That's right.
And it went viral.
I felt like that
Give
was
me
his
your
moment.
chicken.
Like,
Give
isn't it
me your
weird? Though? That's
chicken.
how it happened for him. And people were just like enthralled with it. I just remember social media afterward, it couldn't stop talking about that.
Do you think number one bullshit is better than women should rule the world as far as
It's a little
promo
catchier.
goes?
It's a little catchier.
Okay.
The part about Ian Garry too is like to your point, like he beats D-Rod, then he decisions Neil Magny, decisions Jeff Neal, decisions
Great wins.
Yes.
These are good wins.
decisions Michael Page, which was a little bit of a sketchier win, but Michael Page is tricky.
Nobody's ever looked good against Michael Page.
No,
ever.
Douglas Lima, first fight.
Oh, that's right.
One time,
Dude,
and
that was
almost
a good one. Though.
almost
I
a
remember that one
fluke.
really well.
Douglas Lima sent him packing. Beats or loses to Shavkat, but gives him all he could handle. Ben beats Prates, beats Muhammad, and here he finds himself now against Islam Makhachev. I mean, the guy fucking earned it. There's really no two ways about it.
Those are all really good wins.
Those are all super solid.
really
Yeah.
good
Which one of those is the best one? Is it the Praches win despite the 5th round collapse?
No, Bilal's the best. I know that Bilal was coming.
Bilal went 0 for 9 on the takedown attempts.
But I mean,
against
Bilal's a former champion, and I know he's probably not like at the peak of his powers. That's still better than the Praches one.
Yeah, I don't know. The Praches one, he was just on such a roll too, Praches, and he's been good after. So that still looks good to me. I mean, that was the Kansas City one. He did take it in like a couple weeks' notice. So I mean, that was a tough circumstance, and he was able to come through.
He made Praches look
not
amateurish, but like lesser than for
all the
20 minutes.
Yeah,
that's
20 minutes of that fight.
He can make you look like shit. It's a superpower.
It's incredible.
Which is not a superpower MMA fans give a fuck about.
I know, but the judges might. The judges might.
Yeah.
That's kind of where we get to with this one. Do you think like is the sport? I don't know how to say it. Like honestly, I kind of feel like the way he's gotten sideways with the PETA stuff, and he was overexposed. I think is a pretty nice way to put it. Early in his run, when people were like intensely focused on his family with fictionalized versions of this, I don't quite understand the appeal of that, but
he felt closer to like an influencer there for a while.
He
right?
did. He was overexposed, and I can admit that. Nevertheless, do you think he kind of wants to maintain this posture, or does he actually want to be loved?
I
secretly think he wants to be loved.
Yes, I think he does want to be loved, but it's that thing, you know, when you're in high school and you're like, I can't be a cool kid, so instead I'll embrace being a weirdo.
Yeah.
I think that he has leaned into that a little bit more, and that's not internally. He hasn't like internally been like, this is who I am and I'm happy with it. Yeah. But he's just like, yeah, this is what I'm not going to eat pigs or whatever, so here I am.
He's weird because
I believe women have rights. Fuck.
Yeah. Hey, fuck you, guy. Don't you know this is the 1750s?
It's always felt like he's had trouble in a social sense kind of reading the room, you know, because he'll come across real cocky and confident when at a moment when you're like, maybe you should take it, or, you know, it's just always kind of the opposite where you expect him to be, but it's like he doesn't have that filter to read the room very well. He never has. He's just been weird that way.
Yeah, but so that's what I'm wondering. Like, how much of this is he's sock puppeting it on purpose, you know?
I think he's turning it up because, like, he just does not seem like a good hang. Like, would you want to hang out with Ian Machado Garry?
Hold on, that's my wife calling. Hold on a second.
It's just like he doesn't.
But there's not. I mean, I don't want to hang with most of them, to be honest with you.
That's true. I always say the same thing.
Very few MMA fighters are.
It's like having hung out with many of them. I'm like, I'm good actually. Thanks.
No, but like, I just think it would be weird to like be forced to hang out with him.
Yes.
He just doesn't.
Can you imagine being in the middle seat between him and another person? You'd want to the plane can just crash now. Fucking, what are we doing? Like, I don't want to have this conversation. But at the same time, I know we've talked about this previously, and it's just worth a mention. I do think it's fucking hilarious. How are there very fair criticisms to make of Ian Garry? Yes, of course. Like a billion %. Like only the most absurd person would argue otherwise. However, like I know we spoke about this specifically maybe a week ago. The amount of just absolute fucking morons in the industry who are going to have their brains melt if Garry gets his hand raised. The consolation prize of all consolation prizes to Islam's eventual defeats, if such a reality finds us. I do have to say that part is a nice little surprise.
You love the chaos.
Did you see Chael's take on Ian Garry?
No.
It's sick because like while Brendan Schaub, I know is your friend or whatever, and all these people are coming out, I'm like, Garry sucks. He needs to shut the fuck up.
They hate him.
And they hate him. Chael's take was he's a great heel. This is all he's got it on his YouTube video. Go watch it. He's like, he's a great heel. And then at the very end of the video, he's like, he's never actually done anything bad. Like, look at all he hasn't done anything.
That's true.
So I'm supposed to hate him because he loves his wife.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
what? And Chael's just like, I'm not going to do that. I was like, Chael, that's the first time you've ever given a measured take in your life.
I know. Chael's not typically, he loves to spin a yarn, but he's right there. Like, I mean, again, it's not like I watch his interviews and I'm like, wow, man,
what a guy.
Yeah, this is fucking great. I'm enjoying this. But then I see the reaction. It's like, get Hitler off the screen. I'm like, I didn't see Hitler. I didn't see Hitler
what
there.
Is that?